Time to see if Suika's intel gives us what we need. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with more Dr. Stone. I've been really loving this series, and I'm very excited to see what episode 9 has in store for us today. This series has just really impressed me in a way that I really didn't expect. And last episode, we got to meet the great detective Suika. As I'm going to keep calling her that. Suika is a young girl who wears a watermelon rind on her head because she's a goober. And yeah, she ends up kind of joining our squad and being helpful, even using her melon rind to sneak around the village and get intel and find out what the people of the village need so that our crew can, help them out, gain trust and favor in order to be able to help further, such as with the priestess. Names are gonna escape me from time to time, so if I forget names and everything here, forgive me for that. Kahaku's sister. So they ended up figuring out how to make ramen and everything. And while Senku is not thrilled with it, how it turned out, because he has, more refined tastes based on what he's experienced, the others, the villagers here, don't have that experience with those kinds of flavors. So this is something entirely new to them. And because of that, they end up loving it, like really loving it. So they make a ramen cart and decide to serve the villagers. And that's a genuinely good way to curry favor with people. Like there's a lot of people who would deny it, but let's be honest here. It's kind of a joke when people say, oh, like the way to a man's heart is through his stomach and stuff like that. That's the way to anyone's heart. Like, I'm not even joking here. People love food because food is a comfort, especially when it's nice and warm and tasty. It can bring great comfort to a person and make them feel good. Even if they're in a really bad place at a time, food can help. Even if just temporary. And food is just a good way for people to connect as well. A lot of times people will meet each other over food. I mean, think about how dates usually are. Dates are usually going to a restaurant of some sort. People meet and learn about each other through food. Food is how they connect with each other, how they spend time with each other. Food is a big deal for society. So this is actually an excellent way for Senku to try and gain favor with the villagers. It makes sense. It works. And I'm not just saying all this because I'm fat and I like food. Listen, those are very true things. I am very fat and I do love food. In fact, they kind of go hand in hand. I'm very fat because I love food and because I have very little self-control when it comes to food. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you any different. I'm going to keep it open and honest with you guys. Like, I acknowledge I am fat and I acknowledge why. Years and years of this have caused this. And ramen is one of those foods that is definitely a comfort food. It's definitely one of those foods, the warmth of the broth and everything, the texture of the noodles and the meat or whatever else, the veggies you put in it. Obviously, there's many different kinds of ramen. You can have many different kinds of things in it. I just had ramen the other day, actually, funny enough. Obviously, nothing like this. It wasn't like a fancy bowl of authentic Japanese ramen with all the fixins. No, it was packaged ramen. But still, it's still very comforting. And again, the warmth and the savoriness of that helps lead into that. Um, and while I've never had like really authentic ramen with all the fixins, it's like I've had similar kinds of stuff, and it definitely gives you just that warm, embracing vibe, even if the food itself isn't always necessarily super warm, like a poke bowl. I've had poke bowls before. Uh, those are great, um, and stuff like that. So yeah, just food is a great communicator in that way. And I think that this plan is going to work. I really do. Um, but we still haven't checked in with our other friends from before at all. So we don't know what they're doing in their infiltration mission. I don't know if we're going to finally get to that this episode or if that's still going to be kind of pushed to the side here. Um, but one last thing to note before we begin. Uh, this is one of the first reactions of the new schedule for 2024. So if you didn't know, somehow we are now on a schedule instead of our normal unscheduled format that we've been running with for a long time now. For example, Mondays are Jormungand and Dr. Stone. So we're going to be getting to these episodes every Monday. It's not just going to be a when I get to it kind of situation anymore. Expect Dr. Stone reactions specifically on Mondays from here on out. Now, there might be an exception every now and again. There might be a week where we have to go back to unscheduled for whatever reason. But unless I just end up having a lot of trouble doing this schedule for whatever reason, this is going to be the thing for the foreseeable future. And mind you, I'm kind of working on a sort of trial basis with it during the month of January leading into February and everything. So if I end up having too much trouble to it where it actually becomes an active problem, then we should be good. And it's only one or two things a day, so it should be fine. Outside of movies on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the weekend. But still. If you want to know more info about the schedule, I believe it's in the community tab on the channel. And even if not, there will be a video going over the schedule once again for everyone who just might not have known or might have forgotten about it. So all of that will be discussed. Just to make sure that everyone understands this is how it's going to be from here on out. At least for the foreseeable future. So yeah, I don't know what we're going to get in this episode, but I'm just hoping for more of the awesome stuff we've had. This series blends comedy really well with its drama and science information, which is all apparently super accurate and awesome. I'm very, very excited to see what more they can do with this. Because I think there's 3 seasons currently, and then the 4th season is coming, I think it is. I know the next season that's coming is going to be the last. And the manga's already been finished, so that kind of works out. That makes sense. But I'm just curious to how they're going to fill out all these multiple seasons. Obviously, there's going to be different characters and groups of characters. I'm just wondering exactly what is going to happen, you know? But I'm definitely excited to see more. So let's get into it and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so we have officially met Asagiri Gen. Gen is a charlatan. He is a magician and a mentalist, and just kind of the kind of guy who you can never really trust. But he doesn't necessarily seem like a bad person. Kind of in the same way as Tsukasa, who we find out that again is working with. Um, he's not really bad. He's just, he's working with Tsukasa because Tsukasa, unpetrified him. So he was sent out by Tsukasa to confirm whether or not Senku is dead. And the thing is, he's not 100% sure which side he's on. He seems to be kind of wavering between the two sides, trying to determine one way or the other. He's impressed by the ramen and Senku's kingdom of science, but he also sees certain value in Tsukasa's side. Especially because, as he put it, he's shallow as fuck. And just wants to get with the girlies. At least he's honest about it all. But we actually see how useful he can be as well, showcasing his ability to talk his way in and out of situations. He can get people on his side, get people to trust him, at least enough, and get people to listen, at least. So he definitely has value towards the group in that regards. He's going to be very useful. And we see he has some level of intelligence. He's from the old world, so he knows about a lot of stuff that Senku knows about. He's just not a scientist. He definitely will have some use, and it seems that by the end he is sold on the kingdom of science, which is what Senku was betting on. Granted, who knows for absolute certain? We'll have to see how it all goes down. This episode goes from, sharing the ramen with the villagers to creating a generator, working with getting magnets made and everything. The general idea behind it all is still to get into the village, still to eventually, save Kohaku's sister. All of that is still the goal. But they're just working through the different ways to try and do so. They've already won some favor with the villagers through the ramen. That has definitely helped. But they're not quite there yet. There's some that are still holdouts and some that are still just not even, figured out yet in that regard. But Kinro and Ginro seem to be on our side now, even if for superficial means. And we've got our magnets. We've got our magnets made. We got a generator made that has created, electric light, which is a pretty big fucking deal. And you saw how genuinely amazed Gen seemed at it, so I'm really hoping this all works out. I really am. We are starting to see more and more of the chief. It's like building him up and everything. We know that he's, Kohaku and her sister's dad. We know that he seems to not quite be wanting to check things out himself yet. It's going to be interesting to learn more about him and his perspective on things. I'm just very curious as to where this is all going to go. Because right now we're kind of in what you could call an arc of sorts with this village. And I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know where this is going to go to, but still. And while we didn't see it, we also did get some info regarding how Taiju and Yuzuriha are doing. We find out that they're doing well. They're all good with Tsukasa and everything. We find out because of Gen, of course, being a spy for Tsukasa. And that's really interesting. We still haven't seen them again yet, but we are at least getting info. We're at least having our worries qualmed, you know? And that's something. So now it just comes down to this village. We just have to impress them enough to get the chief to really take notice, and maybe this light will do so. The ramen was a good step, but we got to keep going. We're getting more and more people on our side. We're having a lot of great progress, but we've still got a ways to go. I'm very much enjoying this, though. Like I said in the pre-thoughts and everything, this series has just insanely impressed me. I never would have expected it to be this good. Not that I necessarily expected it to be terrible or anything. I just didn't expect it to be this good. And I'm really happy that it's just really entertaining from just a general perspective. I'm glad that it's not like overly serious or too comical. I like that it blends the two sides really well. I like the sciencey stuff that's based on, real science and everything. The characters are very entertaining and interesting. It's like there's so much to love here. There's just a lot to genuinely love about this. Also, just Suika rolling out of the village with the lacquer and then popping out of the watermelon rind. That was really funny and cute. Suika is definitely up there for characters for me right now. I mean, Tsukasa's still my favorite at the moment, but I do like Suika. Though I do tend to like cute characters like that. They're just very pleasant to watch. You know what I mean? From an entertainment perspective, from just it makes it a good experience when you find characters that you just like care about. You find them adorable, you find them likable, you find them just really well written to where it's just you want to see more of them. And we get that with a lot of characters in this. It's not just Suika, it's Senku as well. Obviously Tsukasa and Yuzuriha and Taiju. Chrome, I would put Chrome in there for sure. And some of these other characters here in the village are kind of getting there for me. Like Kohaku's kind of getting there for me. Kinro and Ginro a little bit, but they're not quite there yet. And I would really have to think about like where my rankings for characters would be at this moment. But either way, I'm still just enjoying this, and I'm excited to see what happens next time. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Tell me your thoughts down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.